Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 207 of the Classic Elite Podcast. My name is Scott. I've got Dustin with me. Dustin, do you have a day off? You don't have any... Your hair's not done. You got bad head.
I think it was just windy out. It's been windy out here in Nashville.
Gotcha. The season's changing. So, how's it going, man?
Awesome. I probably sound completely different now. Due to the lack of clutter, I'm running on a clean install
of Windows.
Yeah.
Yes, we get to do some PC talk tonight. I've been dabbling myself too. This is great. So, well, everyone, thanks for tuning in. We are recording this the night before the United States Thanksgiving celebration.
I cannot believe tomorrow is Thanksgiving.
It's fucking bananas. So happy Thanksgiving to everybody. And hopefully you've already been thinking about your Christmas lists. And if not, sign up for Amazon Prime now and get your 30-day free trial. We are not a paid sponsor. That's just a pro tip for life right now. If you're not a Prime member, sign up. And yeah. So that's good. Things are good.
Yeah.
Work-related, anything exciting? Or, Sully's birthday, how'd that go? You mentioned that last week.
Man, that was a blast.
Yeah?
Yes. Oh my gosh. It was a Sonic-themed birthday.
Rad.
So Kim went to school and she went on Google Images. They have projectors there.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
And she went on, she Google image Sonic and all the characters, and then she traced out on the projector. And then we had, these huge, Sonic the Hedgehog posters.
Sweet.
Yeah. The whole day, we had Sonic games playing on the television, just on YouTube. So I was listening to Sonic soundtracks all day, and at the end of the day, I was sitting there thinking, and I was just like, man, I am in the best mood. I feel great right now because I've been listening to that awesome music all day.
That's awesome, man. I would have this weird, taste sensation of watermelon Jolly Ranchers in that scenario. First time I ever sat down and played Sega and Sonic, my buddy and I were munching on watermelon Jolly Ranchers. That's rad, man. That's so cool that, he's been getting into Sonic over the last year or so, and he got to just absolutely blow his mind with Overload.
Yeah, he got a bunch of Sonic toys for his birthday.
Cool.
He got a gift card to Toys R Us, so we took him up there the day after. Actually, I think it was on his birthday because his birthday was on a Monday.
Okay.
But we celebrated on Saturday just so everybody could come out and see him.
Yeah, and he's 4. He doesn't know what day it is.
Yeah, so we took him this Monday to Toys R Us, and he picked out Tails' airplane.
Okay.
From Sonic Boom.
Now, please tell me, if you didn't, then if he's still into Sonic next year, you got to use this. Pin the tail on the tails, and you get 2 chances.
No, we didn't do that. We thought about it, but we were just short on time. We thought about doing a lot of stuff. We wanted to cut out the eyes in Sonic, so the kids could stand behind it and get their picture taken. And
oh, that's cool.
But there was just a lot of stuff that we thought of and just didn't have time to go in on.
At least you were reasonable and did put some restraints on.
Yeah, right.
We've put in 3 weeks of work, and he walks in, and he's like, yeah, I'm kind of over Sonic now.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, congrats, man. I'm glad it went off without a hitch. That's sweet. I don't have anything real exciting to, talk about as far as fun stuff. My fun stuff will be in the episode, though. I've got some fun gaming crap to talk about, so kind of holding back in the beginning here. So, I guess to get things started, we've got a couple of quick announcements before we get into gaming news. First, I want to thank Lex and Dan over at the Don't Copy That Floppy podcast. They had me on as a guest, and they let me stay on the whole time, so they didn't boot me in the middle of the conversation, so I don't think I did anything too bad. But no, it actually was a lot of fun. We ended up going a little over their time frame, and so we messed up the schedule of chipbit.net a little bit, so I apologize about that. if any new listeners are checking us out from over there. But it was a really fun show. We talked about a lot of cool stuff. And yeah, it was a good time. So I'll link that in the description. It was episode 101. You can get it at chipbit.net or their podcast. If our YouTube channel, you can go to DCTF podcast if you look for that. And YouTube, you'll find their podcast. Dustin, they fancy it up a little bit. They show their news articles like broadcast as
Ooh.
We're not. Maybe someday. I don't need that much crap to click on.
Yeah, we're lucky if we don't crash in the middle.
Speaking of crashes, so my computer, you know how it's been kind of crashing over the last several months or whatever? It finally dawned on me after doing a million different like malware searches and rootkit identifiers, and they constantly are telling me nothing's wrong, there's zero threats or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I've been pushing my computer pretty hard, and I'm going to go check my overclock and see where my last overclock settings I had were. I remember very vividly that 4.4 gigahertz would make my system unstable. But 4.3 gigahertz would allow me to re-render blue rips with Handbrake to kind of shrink them down a little bit. My computer's been sitting at 4.3 gigahertz forever with my overclock. So I scaled it back to just 4 gigahertz because I'll just rip Blu-rays overnight or whatever. And it really doesn't save that much time. So that, and there was the Samsung SSDs, the 850 Pros were on sale on Amazon. So
Sweet.
I swapped out my old Kingston SSD for a new Samsung Pro. And real world, I don't really you can't tell that much. I mean, Windows are a little snappier, and my computer boots a little more, but it's got a 10-year warranty. I feel more confident.
Sweet.
In this one. And it has much more capacity, which is nice. And it has a... my old one would get around 200 megabit read a second, and this one has 550.
Ooh.
And that was with testing. I actually verified it with tests.
Cool.
Which was nice. So, who knows? I can't afford like a new motherboard and CPU and all that stuff. So,
right.
Upgrade here and there when I can. Yeah, but you had some PC stuff too. So, what prompted the clean Windows 10 install?
Oh man, so for about a month and a half, maybe 2 months, my computer, I would turn it on, and it would do the splash screen for the BIOS, and then it would. The two or the window comes up, the blue window, and then you get the circles that spin long enough, and then and then your operating system comes up.
Yes.
So I would do that, and the blue window would come up and just sit there. And I would have to turn my computer off, turn it back on again, BIOS splash screen, window, and then the circles. So
and then it would finally go through, right?
Yeah. So I'd have to turn it on, wait for the window, turn it off, turn it back on, and then my computer would boot. And I was like, well, that's kind of dumb, but it still works, and I'm too lazy, so whatever. Doing a clean install can be kind of a bummer. At least it was kind of a bummer last time. But that was a Windows 7, and it's been a couple of years, so it has changed since then. And then I got to where I would turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, the desktop would come up, my left screen would be perfect, my right screen would be crunched, like it wasn't all the way up, and then no desktop icons.
Oh.
So I was like, well, that's not right. As an IT professional, I can say that's not supposed to happen. So eventually I got it to where I could get to my desktop. I just had to turn it off and turn it back on again a million times before it popped up. I said, okay, it's time. I've had this image since I was in college. I should probably wipe this and redo it. So I was kind of hesitant because I know it can be a pain. It was last time when I was doing Windows 7. Like, for some reason, my key didn't register. It wouldn't activate online, and I had to actually call them.
Yeah.
And they gave me like a 25 or
I was
30
gonna say
character
it's 25,
alphanumeric.
25 characters. They do that for Microsoft Office products too. If your computer wipes and you have to reinstall Word and Excel and all that stuff from like the original disk, usually after 1 or 2 activations, that code that it comes with won't work, but you get more activations than that with the license. So if you call, you can re-verify it over the phone, and they basically spit out the equivalent of like a new key for you or whatever, even though they know it's the same account. So there's like, it was a giant pain in the ass. Windows 10 doesn't have that. Did you do that, the built-in refresh thing that they have? Or how do you go about doing it?
So what I did is they have it's basically an ISO creation tool. And I did, I couldn't remember if my motherboard would do boot by USB. It turns out it does, but I couldn't remember if I did that. It could. So I both burned an ISO on a DVD, and I made just a flash drive, boot from flash drive. It turned out the boot from flash drive worked, and so I made that. I booted from it. It took like a few minutes, not like less than 10 minutes for the installation process, like the real meat of the installation process to begin, because it has like, it starts and then it loads files and then it starts asking you questions. And I used my old Windows 7 OEM key, and it took it like that.
That's awesome.
So I made a flash drive, put it on, put the OS on the system. It took my like 7-year-old OEM key, and now I'm rocking a clean install.
That's feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was buttery smooth. I felt dumb for like hesitating for so long. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, now rendering, Skype, internet, all that stuff is going to be much cleaner now. But since it is a clean install, go to hit your start key after the podcast and type in apps and features just to search for it, and then look at all the bullshit that Microsoft has installed. You'll see. I guarantee you have Candy Crush, Netflix app, all sorts of different stuff.
Probably Twitter, Facebook, all that garbage.
Yeah, and the reason that's in the now I found this a while ago that all these kind of apps were installed. Some like speed up Windows 10 guide suggested it or whatever. But a guy I follow on YouTube, Barnacles, just put out kind of a PSA video. So I went and double checked because a lot of these apps re-downloaded after anniversary, and it turns out I did remember to uninstall them. But yeah, it's very bizarre. So now that you have a clean install, you can actually go through and clean up some of the bloatware that might be on there too.
Yeah.
And that's great, man. Everything's gonna run so quick and smooth now.
Yeah. It's been so good. I have 10 icons on my desktop right now.
Ooh.
10. It's fantastic.
Yeah, so you got like 7 more years, so you have to do it again.
Right.
Sweet. So, all right. Well, as far as other announcements, real quick, I did want to bring up the Twitch downloader that I talked about last week. How I said it was nefarious and whatnot, or it's questionable. I forgot to mention I did download it from GitHub, so that's not like guaranteed that it's safe or whatever, but it's usually user created and whatnot. And so I think that's okay. And then also, I did want to quickly mention, because we talk about shows or TV or movies on the top. So I signed back up for HBO Now for Westworld because there was all this hype about it. Don't sign up for Westworld or HBO just for Westworld.
Oh, okay.
Don't buy the hype. It's pretty fucking dumb. So it's got a good premise, but it's sounds good on paper. Not loving this show. So I had to mention that because
it's the TV equivalent of communism.
I don't understand why so many people are loving it. But those first 2 episodes, I was like, oh man, this is going to get amazing. Do you ever watch Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
I've seen a few episodes.
There are these really weird twin brothers, or like just brothers that are really gross, that enter the plot sometimes. And one of those two brothers is the main actor in Westworld, and it's really jarring for me. I just picture this dude in Westworld like drinking this hot, gross milk and like talking about showering with his brother, and it's just bizarre. So, and then also we have in the notes, Dustin, I think you put this in here.
Oh yeah. So I saw you listen to it also, the Retronauts episode about Virtual Console.
Oh yeah.
And I was thinking, like I have no evidence that Nintendo's going to do anything like this, but I was thinking the Switch could be the PS4 for Nintendo, right? Because like the PS2 was awesome, everybody loved it. It had the DVD player, people were going all over it, like Sony took over the market, and then PS3 comes out and it's super expensive and people don't want to develop for it, and Sony's like, nah, you want to get 2 jobs to pay for this thing. That's how awesome it's going to be. So of course they lost like all the market share. Microsoft took over with the 360. Their like network was so much better. So with the PS4 came around, Sony was like, hey guys, the PS4 is easy to develop for. We heard what you're saying. We're working on our network. We're making Microsoft look like a bunch of idiots because we're letting you play your used games. We're making fun of them at our press conferences. Please buy our system. We're sorry. We're here for the fans. I was thinking that could totally be what Nintendo Switch is for Nintendo, because they did. The Wii took over. They had all the mind share. Then the Wii U comes out and nobody cares. Everybody's pretty much middle fingers to the Wii U.
Yeah.
So now they could totally be like, hey guys, Nintendo Switch, we're totally sorry. We're here for the fans. And then Chris Kohler was talking about something, I think he said Ryan Payton said it, how the Virtual Console can make the Wii like a Nintendo paradise. Like imagine if the Nintendo Switch just turned into like Virtual Console machine.
This portal to Nintendo's past.
Yeah.
That in itself would be worth $250.
Absolutely.
$300 like
subscription fee.
Yeah, I would do the net again. If you want to hear full context of what Dustin and I are talking about, I'll link it in the show notes at classicleet.com. The Retronauts episode of the Virtual Console complaining was unbelievably good. And it's not them just being whiny guys. They're very self-aware about what their issues were, but they talk very candidly about their issues between the Virtual Console, as well as what they would be willing to do for the full-blown access. And that's where this idea came up of a subscription to Nintendo's IPs, all their back stuff. There's a lot of people that would do that. It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
But, I mean, man, I don't know, $10, $15 a month to play almost any N64 game, even if it's just first party. Any Nintendo game from NES up to, I don't know, probably GameCube maybe?
Just do all of them. Like if you could play...
I'm just picturing technical limits. Yeah, if there's no technical limits, yeah, go hog wild. I mean, there's a lot more to it than that, but boy, that really would be Nintendo paradise. And if you don't feel like playing Nintendo that month, just don't subscribe.
Well, man, I was just thinking, like, that would be, like, Nintendo would dominate this entire generation if that's what they did.
It'd be such a strong value proposition.
Yeah.
Because some of what we're going to, I guess we'll get, like, lead into that with the news of Nintendo leaks. So if you're launching with new Skyrim, as reports are, it's just rumors, but it's from a reliable source. I'll talk about her in a second. But it looks like a new Mario game and the new Skyrim, or not new Skyrim, but redone Skyrim, available at launch. Pikmin, no, Splatoon as a pack-in game. And if there was a subscription service to an enormous back catalog,
yeah, the
value proposition would be amazing. So many games and some new exciting ones too. Oh, I guess.
What if they had like just the entire Nintendo Wii Virtual Console available?
because then you get all your Sega games, your TurboGrafx-16.
Mm-hmm.
You know who we sound like? We sound like Jeremy and Mike from the Nintendo Retrocast from 10 years ago, talking about the Nintendo Revolution. It's oh man, it'd be so exciting. It would be awesome. Now, in your heart of hearts, I know you're talking about the could-be's here. Do you see anything like that actually happening?
I do, just because I didn't think for a second it would happen to Sony. I didn't think for a second there'd be any transparency or any like humanity in that company at all. And they just, that E3, my jaw dropped when I saw what they were doing.
Yeah, it got me excited.
So, if they could do it, then Nintendo could do it.
Hey, fingers crossed. Man.
Oh, my goodness.
It's funny. When I was on Don't Copy That Floppy, at one point I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm just a big Nintendo fan. And they're like, well, so are we. Like, and Lex had mentioned on his show, like, it's because we all grew up with that stuff. I mean, I know that's not a new idea, but that's what the conversation always goes to.
Mm-hmm.
And out of all the complaints about like the NES Classic, which we can get to here in a little bit, there's a YouTuber, John's Arcade, I like a lot. He's got his podcast, Video Game Outsiders, and he's like, it's just got that Nintendo juice. This little NES Classic. Just the menu music is really charming. The way you load save states is charming. I don't know. It's just Nintendo. So yeah, we all want that Nintendo magic in it. And I think I would argue that the Wii had it, but it just was such a confusing marketing issue, and like you had mentioned with the PS3 being weird to develop for, like, what do you do with it? But the
online interface stuff was kind of in its infancy then, like for game consoles at least.
Oh yeah, seeing what PlayStation and 360 or PlayStation 3 and 360 ended up like with their functionality at the end of the cycle compared to what it launched with was crazy. So different. Remember the 360 had those like slides?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the
blades, I think they call them. And now it's this like blocky, clean UI. It's just really strange. Yeah. They never planned to have Netflix run on any of those things. Or
right, yeah. Shoehorning that in somehow.
Right? Like, it was pretty remarkable that those consoles could do that. Yeah, it's worth getting excited about. Fingers crossed for the Switch for sure. But the girl I was talking about, her name is Laura Dale over at letsplayvideogames.com. She's the one that's been spot on with Switch leaks so far. So I will link the article that she's got out there saying Mario and Skyrim will be launch games, and Splatoon a possible pack-in. That is brilliant. Getting a good multiplayer game in as a pack-in.
Yeah.
It's got local and online co-op. I never played Splatoon, but a lot of people loved it.
Yeah, a lot of people love that.
So you might be right, Dustin.
How awesome would that be?
I don't want to get too excited, but I can't help myself. It would be amazing.
What if you turn on your Switch and you're like, what do I want to play? Let's see, Mega Man 2, Chrono Trigger, Super Mario 64.
I just bought Mega Man 2 today again, and I would gladly subscribe to a service that has it.
Right.
the Steam.
Do you want to play Mega Man 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, Mega Man X, Mega Man X2, Mega Man X3?
Yeah, any of those obscure ass games that you've talked about.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, man, it would be awesome. And in more Nintendo news, the Wii, speaking of the Wii, it did turn 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
10 years, man.
That's substantial. That's how
10 years of Wii bowling.
That's how Tony and I became buddies. I was walking by his desk and he had some video games sitting out. I'm like, oh, you play games? And he's like, yeah. So we just started chatting about games, and then I heard the Retro League, and then I was telling Tony how awesome podcasts are, and he's like, we should do one. I'm like, all right. Here we are.
And here we are.
6.5 years later. But it got me inspired seeing all this Wii stuff talked about.
Mm-hmm.
I fired up my emulator. 'Cause I got the Homebrew channel on there. I was playing some old NES games. And then I said, screw this. Went and grabbed Mario Galaxy 2.
Hey, all right.
Started that again. My save was transferred to my Wii U.
Mm-hmm.
So, starting from scratch. Now, if you had to sit down and start just one of those games over, would you play 1 or 2?
I'd play 2 because I've never played it before.
Oh, okay. I assume that
I got 120 stars in the first one.
Damn. I don't think I did that. Because that's all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely did extra stuff. Because I just wanted to keep playing both of the times I played that game. Or games. So, yeah, I pulled out 2. It's awesome. It's great. I can't believe the Wii's 10 years old. People haven't been bowling for that long, like you said. Bowling was great, though. That's still fun.
Man, there's a lot of big ones. I just saw Happy Console Gamer put up Final Fantasy IV or Final Fantasy II on the Super Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
It's 25 years old.
Maybe that's why that YouTuber SNES Drunk, he just did a Final Fantasy IV video.
Oh, yeah, that was a good video, too.
I mentioned it on Twitter to him that I don't see very many Final Fantasy II videos made, or it talked about that much. I know a lot about the NES game from people talking about it, and everyone talks about 3 or /6 as one of their favorite games of all time. And so it was really interesting to see his take on 4 or 2, whatever. Just it's annoying. Because I didn't know much about that game.
Yeah.
So it was really good to get more information about that. And man, Jeremy Parrish, also speaking of that stuff, has just been. Have you been following his channel on YouTube?
Not recently.
Man, he's had some great just NES videos come out.
Really? Oh, I gotta.
Like he did one on the. He did like the AVS, and then like his transformation into the toaster that we know.
Mm-hmm.
It's just good stuff. It's just the encyclopedia of video games. Yeah, man, Nintendo stuff's just exciting right now. The Wii's, we can get nostalgic about the Wii. I thought about looking for like some good chiptune renditions of like Wii song, like Wii music to either play underneath this section or maybe for outro music. Then I realized.
I wonder if they have like a dubstep version of the Wii menu music.
There's not a wonder. It's which version do you want to play? It's like a third of OC Remix now. So yeah, and then I guess we'll just keep with the Nintendo stuff. My Life in Gaming on YouTube, we've talked about them a bunch. Super detailed in their information, but excellent in presenting it. Did you get to watch their NES Classic video by chance?
Oh, not yet. I've been eyeballing it.
Then I won't talk about it too much, but if you are really into NES stuff, it's a great look at what like hardcore NES people think about the game or that system. Okay. It's excellent. It's just a good video. God, I love those guys. They're really goddamn good. So I'll link that in our description as well. My Life in Gaming on YouTube. Their NES Classic is excellent. Their video on that. And then I did want to mention, I haven't tried this because I don't have a Vive. You don't have a Vive. But have you seen anything about Google Earth in VR?
No.
I guess it's like people are like jumping in and going to their old neighborhoods or their old schools and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And on the Bombcast, the guys are talking about it being like really emotional. Like it like struck them deeper than they ever expected as far as like, holy shit, it feels like I'm at my childhood home. Like if you haven't been there since you were like 3 because you moved away, like how trippy that would be. And I guess it's, they described it as kind of like a dream feeling because it would be like kind of blocky and like Google's algorithm is trying to fill in these 3D objects. And it's just kind of funky and off. But still, the presence is there. Like, I don't know. I wanted to bring that up. So if anybody listening has tried that, comment below. Let us know if it gave you like that warm feeling or that true wave of nostalgia of holy shit. Like I'm where. I would imagine it's like when you haven't been to like your middle school in forever, and you're like, God, the chairs are so tiny, and
right, yeah,
the ceiling is shrunk down. This is wild. But you could do that kind of anywhere you've been in the world. And then Dustin, did you happen to see the Watch Dogs 2 controversy with a vagina being shown?
No.
So this dude blew up a gas bomb or something, and like went up to a dead hooker or prostitute or whatever, and her legs were open, and there's like a fully drawn snatch in there, like not just weird pixelation, like someone had to draw a cooter. So the guy took a picture and like shared it. I mean, this is the gist of the story, and got his account banned or got like a strike against it through Sony. He's like, wait, I'm sharing something through your system that I played on your system.
Yeah.
And so the Watch Dogs 2, I think Ubisoft does that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Ubisoft is like kind of backpedaling a little bit. It sounds like Sony wants them to patch, that potential out or whatever. And so it's a big to do about nothing if you think about it. You know what I mean? It's just, but the reason this has made our show notes is because Jim Sterling did a video about it, and I haven't laughed so much at different ways to refer to genitalia in my life. It is like 15 minutes of hilarious crotch references, and anybody can make a fart joke, but he orchestrates it in such a delightful manner that I thought it was worth bringing attention to. So I'll also have that linked in the description. His podcast and his impression videos are okay, I think, but his specific Jimquisition videos absolutely have me rolling. They're so funny. So yeah. And then, Dustin, I think you are instituting a new segment in our show.
Yeah, I was thinking about it.
I think it's a brilliant idea.
Okay, sweet, good. That's why there's a question mark there. Because right now it reads YouTube channel of the week.
Yeah, but I highlighted it and made it huge so that we wouldn't forget about it. So that would. Okay, cool. So that's how Dustin and I communicate is Google Docs. Or like if the Google document's changing the day of recording, we're recording. So I see this in the show notes, and I'm like, ooh, that's good. I'm going to highlight that. I don't want to forget about it.
So yeah, YouTube channel of the week, because we usually end up talking about somebody's videos anyway.
Yeah.
I figure we just make it official and see if we can't have one once a week. And this week it is Implant Games.
I'm not familiar with Implant Games.
Me either. I just happened to, they probably were in our recommended videos, something or other. So I clicked on one. And, I know what it was. It was, is Van Helsing for Xbox underrated? And I just thought that was a cool idea, because people are, they typically are dismissive of anything that gets kind of poor reviews. And he kind of comes in and says hey, is this underrated? And he said that yes, Van Helsing is underrated. I actually bought that. I bought it off eBay for $5 because it's a dirt cheap game.
Nice.
But he does. Is it underrated? Is it still fun today? So he did is Aladdin still fun today? And he also, one thing I thought was really cool is he goes through settings for the Frame Master.
Oh, that's smart. That's a lot of people. It's $300 for one of those, but a lot of people are biting the bullet and getting them.
Mm-hmm. I thought about it a couple of times, but yeah, I think his recent one that I saw and I watched it's Frame Master set up for, I think, the NES Mini.
Okay,
is what I saw, and it is just bare bones 2.5-3 minutes of these are your settings. These are why I use these. So it is no nonsense, just educational. Here you go.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I was, I won't get. I was listening to another podcast from the Stuff You Should Know kind of category, and Stuff to Blow Your Mind came in, and it was like they were talking about the social media study and how that kind of affects people now, or just social media in general and how people are studying it. And they called it like the energy of the masses or something that gets people excited to do stuff. Like, there's no real reason for you to show everybody how to get S ranks in everything in Metal Gear Solid. There's no reason for me to show people how to record their retro consoles with the Hapog or whatever.
Right.
But we do it, and a lot of people do it, like how to change your car tire, how to fix your garbage disposal, like all this stuff. And it was a very fascinating, like, why do we do that? You know, it's neat. It was a good episode. I'm not done with it yet, but when you mentioned him, like, bare bones, no nonsense, here's the information you're seeking.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, he might get a little bit of money from YouTube, or maybe he's got millions of subscribers, and he'll get 10 grand for that. It's still, like, clearly, if it's no nonsense, that's the purpose is to actually share that information, and the other stuff would be ancillary. So it's a cool thing to think about. Why do we do all that stuff? I don't know. It's just fun to share that information. I still respond to people asking questions on those videos. Like 4 years old. Like, well, here's what. Why not? You know.
Yeah, but it's like when you have a problem or you need something fixed, and you look up what's going on online, and it's the exact thing you need. It's such a relief.
It really is.
It feels so good to say, okay, boom, I got this.
I'm not alone. This is how you fix it.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. So, all right. Well, that's it for news and whatnot. So, as far as what you've been playing, man, what have you been playing?
Okay, so I talked about Sonic Birthday Party. I tried Gear VR. Did I talk about that?
No. Not
yeah,
last week.
I was at Opry Mills, and Facebook had a little kiosk set up in the middle of the mall. And there was a bunch of people there, and they were like, here, throw this on and do VR. And I was like, okay, sure. I did it for free, of course. And it was pretty cool. I mean, it was a phone stuck in the thing, and it wasn't like an Oculus level, I'm assuming. So it wasn't flawless. I think it did have the, like you said, the screen door kind of effect of looking through. But there was like the thing that they set up had a rail, like just like a 3-foot rail that you could grab onto and hold onto, kind of ground yourself. And that was the first thing I did was I grabbed that rail, because I remember you and me laughing about that guy doing the
climbing the rock.
Rock climbing and just face planting. I was like, I do not want to be that guy, especially after I make fun of him. So like I grabbed the rail first off, and it was really cool. Like I see what everybody's talking about. It does trick your brain. Like the first thing they showed me was it was basically just like a little demo of like, hey, this is what Gear VR is like. This is why we're investing in it. How you want to do it too, right? But the first thing they showed me was I was in space looking down at the Earth. And I was like, dude, I feel like I am in space right now. This is freaking awesome. Yeah. Like, the scale is awesome. I look like I'm looking down at a planet. I can look around and see all the stars and stuff in the sky. And but they went through a...
Yeah, I was just going to say that you know that you're not there, but something about it still feels kind of real. I don't know. It's it's a bizarre thing. Okay, so what else were they saying?
Oh, there was a few, like, it was space, which was really awesome. And then there was stuff like I was standing in front of a dinosaur, or I was in the middle of some, like, living room with a bunch of people in another country. Some other stuff that was kind of boring. And then I went back to space. But this was like I was in the middle of, like, an asteroid field in, like, The first I was close to Earth, so I felt kind of grounded.
Okay.
But this, I was just like in space. So I was like, this is awesome. I feel like I'm floating. I kind of want to die, but this is weird. So, yeah. It was cool.
Sweet.
I was really glad I had that rail to hold on to.
That's cool that you enjoyed it. Just like that VR experience. It's you got to see it to believe it, and even though the resolution's low, it's still like it's fun to have your brain tricked like that.
Yeah.
Rad, man. So also your Sonic Generations weekly check-in.
Yep. Let's see. We found all 3 of the keys to the second boss, and we fought Perfect Chaos.
Okay.
And I tell you what, from like midway, I'm assuming to the end, those the levels start to get challenging. Like,
yes,
make one mistake and you die. Like, it's no joke.
I wanted to ask you about that since you've played some, or you know a little bit more about Sonic CD. I've been playing that a lot, and I feel like I'm pretty far into the game, and it's been easy the whole time.
Okay.
Is that notoriously an easy game?
I feel like yes. Yeah.
Like, absurdly easy. I don't die until I try to figure out something with Robotnik or whatever. But I still didn't. I forgot to look if I'm playing Japanese or American music. But whatever it is great. You were definitely right about that. It's just good-ass Sonic music.
Yeah. Oh, man. After listening to Sonic music for a day, I listened to a bunch of Smooth McGroove. Because he has like 7 different Sonic themes up now.
And his tones are perfect for Genesis. Something about it just pops the right way.
Yeah, which my poor family listening to Smooth McGroove means that I'll randomly throughout the day just be sitting at home and I'll just be like ba 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 ba. My poor wife.
That's
Solly
awesome.
will be like, Dad, why are you singing Sonic 3? I'm like, I'm sorry, dude.
So I'm singing Smooth. It's a cover. You'll get that eventually.
That's right. But I went on iTunes and downloaded like the 25th anniversary. There's actually like 50 songs up right now of Sonic soundtracks.
Really?
Yeah, it's really good.
Good on Sega for getting that stuff out there. Yeah, Generations is awesome. Have you beaten it before?
Not yet.
Okay, I'll be curious to talk about the end of that game. Was there anything like tough about the pattern of the boss, or just like the levels that started getting tough? Like you mentioned, one-hit deaths, but
Perfect Chaos is pretty easy. You basically just dash at him.
Okay.
As long as your platforming is sound, you're good. Really, it's the levels before and after.
Okay.
Man, they like especially Crisis City using modern Sonic. There's a lot. You can die really easily using modern Sonic.
I remember that game getting it almost feel like a rhythm game at certain times with the way that you would have to, target onto one of the like ricochet red things into like several other enemies, and you have to like continually do like the dash power to like keep going, and if you miss any of them, you fall to your death.
Yeah, or in a big pit of lava.
Yeah. So it's I do remember that game getting tough. And yeah, Sonic CD's not been difficult like at all so far. Which is kind of fun. I think it's the reason I've kept chipping away at it, because I'll just play a level, it'll take 3 or 4 minutes, and the save feature is excellent. Something about it's funny, I was sitting there playing Sonic, and I'm like, man, Sully's gonna grow up with like being like a Notre Dame fan and loving chiptune music. I'm like, he's gonna be like a doppelganger of like a 30-year younger version of me.
That's pretty funny you said that, because I have his hat sitting right here.
Go Irish! Now it's been a rough time for Irish football. They're terrible at football, and just had a huge punishment put down on them by the NCAA for some bad academic practices. So that's been a bummer. However, the basketball team did something great last night. One of the last second shots, so that was exciting. And my OU Bobcats are going to the championship conference game in Detroit. So hopefully they'll beat Western Michigan. So sports isn't all bad for me. But nonetheless, still love my Irish as bad as they are this year. Oh, well, what are you going to do? They're going to get throttled on Saturday by USC. It's going to suck.
Next year.
Like, this scandal, like, we'll even see who the coach is going to be next year. So, it's ugly. But video games wise, what else you been playing, man?
Solly and I just started playing some Super Mario 64 today.
Nice.
He's totally digging it.
Well, yeah.
And he finds himself like really worried about the baby penguins in what is it, Cool Ranch, the first ice level.
Okay.
Like there's little baby penguins going around, and he'll see them and he'll be like, "Dad, get the baby penguin." He'll be like, "Son, that's not this star. We're gonna leave that baby penguin to die, okay? We're here to get stars."
You gotta learn your priorities. It's too bad for what he's played. The race against the penguin is unimpressive to him compared to the other standards of like Sonic Racing and like.
Yeah, but he was surprisingly into it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, because he was watching it and he's got to where he does the like he wants to jump and he'll jump using his hands, like he'll jump the controller.
We used to say that was the babysitter move. That's how our babysitter would play video games.
But he'll do that even when I'm playing. So I was actually racing the penguin, and he was like trying to like luge like back and forth, like, trying
cool.
to get a little faster.
That's rad. Okay, well I take it back. That blocky Nintendo magic holds up.
Yeah,
that's a hard race.
It is. Yeah, it took me a couple of. Don't.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that. Go play Mario 64.
Yeah, play Mario 64. That'll change your outlook. Don't race the penguin too much though. That thing was tough. Some of those turns are bullshit.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. The first time I was racing him, I accidentally fell, but I landed on another part of the track.
Oh, so, yes.
Instead of dying, I just landed and kept going, and he was like, no, you cheated. So I had to go back up and do it again.
Really?
Yeah. I was just like, whatever, man. I'm just glad I'm not dead.
Yeah. That... You know, I feel like I should look for a copy of that on, even though it doesn't have the joystick, the DS port. I wonder, I had a ROM of that a while ago, but I don't know how that holds up. Like if that's good with the D-pad or not.
I heard the D-pad is garbage, but the 3D, if you play it on the 3DS with the analog stick, it's a little bit better.
Oh, okay. I have not played a single 3DS game or DS game on my 3DS before, which is I guess a bummer since it's backwards compatible. I know the screen gets a little weird; it adds bars to it and whatnot. So, yeah, man, you been playing anything else?
That's it.
Cool. I've been chipping away a little bit more of Owlboy. I will mention that there's a little too much chatter in the game. Okay, I'm just going to say that so far. And then I talked about getting back into Mario Galaxy 2. It's jarring at first to get back into that game because your hands aren't connected to control the character. So, like, I'm acting like the babysitter. I'm, like, jumping and stuff, and, yeah, I was inaccurate, so I'm getting better at it.
How's the waggle in that game?
It's actually fine. It feels okay. So, you use it to do like a spin attack, or you use it to, jump into a star and then you waggle it and it like slingshots you forward.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something about that working that is actually pretty fun with the waggle mechanic. I jump and then it feels like you're kind of slingshotting him with your hand. And I don't know, it sort of works the right way.
Okay.
So not bad at all. And I do remember now, I who knows if this will hold up, but I remember thinking that the fidelity when you did need to do like a balancing act thing with the Wiimote, I remember it working really well. So when I finally get to that point, we'll see. So yeah. Also, I wanted to mention I bought Job Simulator for PlayStation VR.
Okay.
I haven't tried it yet, but it's been the game that most of the like VR people that are into VR, the game that impresses their friends the most has tended to be Job Simulator. And it's just little stuff like making a sandwich or just doing things. But it really blows people away. The reason I bought it was because Dustin and I spent way more money on like VR and regular software for PlayStation than I realized I was doing. Because I get an email from PlayStation that's like, here's your $15 code, and I didn't read it the right way, and it was like, here's your $15 code if you spent $100 since October on our PlayStation service. And I'm like, well, I'm not spending $100. And then I reread it, and it was like, no, because you spent $100. Here's 15. I'm like, whoops. Well, I guess I'm going to spend it. So it made Job Simulator half off. And I'm like, all right, well.
Sweet.
It was on my to-get list anyways, so now what the hell? Why not?
Yeah.
So, yeah. We'll see how that goes. I'll have family in town and some friends over the Thanksgiving holiday. So if we end up at my house, I will definitely be busting that out to see what people think about it. And I mentioned I think I've got my PC crash issues corrected. So fingers crossed, things seem to be going well.
There for a minute, we were going to have to name it Bandicoot.
Oh, crash. Okay. Because, yeah. I'm like, Bandicoot. Unfortunately, I went back to referencing the word cooter earlier. I'm like, is he talking about Watchdog 2 vagina? No. My PC crash. Dustin, you're too smart for me sometimes. Your jokes go like right over my head. It's embarrassing. I'm trying to see like if we got Twitch going on, or try not to shut down the stream on accident. And here you are making good jokes. So yeah, that does it for news and what we've been playing. So let's get to some listener feedback. We've got some good comments here from our good buddy Tony, and also co-founder of Classic Elite, and got some good stuff from Demez. So I'll go ahead and read. Tony's go back to 2 episodes. So Dustin, I'll get to Demez, and then I will let you take care of Tony.
All right.
See, make sure I don't miss any of Demez's comments. Okay, he says, in reference to what we were talking about last week, he says, why wouldn't someone want a pepper spray grenade? That is awesome. If a pack of rapists broke into your house and you had one handy, you'd be very happy indeed. Demez speaks the truth sometimes, man.
That's right.
I hope I'm never like, damn it, if I just went to slick deals like Dustin, well, I guess I'm toast.
I got 2 of them, so I can mail you one.
Okay. If that's the last thought I have, I mean, I guess at least I'm thinking of my podcast buddy. It could be worse things to think about. Dumbass also says, in 1997, I got my first PC on the internet. My first email address was, I'm not going to say it. He put it here, but just in case. And his name has been Dumez on the internet ever since. So that's a very first like nickname he had, in reference to me changing my AOL name all the time.
Oh yeah,
he's stuck with his. In 97, that's about when I got on the internet. It was 6th grade. I remember that. Whatever that would have been for me. So, 96, 97, somewhere in there. 95 to 97 would be my guess.
Man.
It's crazy. Like our old video games. Like the good ones. Because there was like, Oregon Trail was like shitty to us, right?
Right.
Or like that stupid DOS Jeopardy. Oh my God. DOS Jeopardy was not only hard because the trivia was hard, but the spelling. And you could also have correct answers that they would have accepted on Jeopardy. But because you used a word a certain way differently, you were toast. And then Dustin also, or Dumbass also says, Dustin, you forgot the best part of his awesome porno joke slogan. Bye guys, for guys. But the bye is spelled like instead of bi.
B-I.
Yeah.
It was bisexual.
It was a pun.
As in dudes who swing both ways. For people who didn't get it last time.
Wait, there's a... I could have sworn he... I don't know. There was something else I thought he wanted to talk about. But that should do it there. So yeah, Tony's got 3 comments. If you want to go, like, kind of scroll down and read upwards.
Okay. 3 comments. I'll read
the newest one while you're looking.
Okay.
Tony, again, co-founder of Classic Elite, says, hey guys, great podcast today. Pepper spray grenades. Really? Vogue Nasty, you crack me up. Are you building a military compound? Yeah, dude, I'm going to start calling you Bert, like from Tremors.
Yes. Life goals.
Says I was cracking up on that. The NES Mini thing is ridiculous with the shortage. I don't understand that at all. It's not like I have time to buy a new system anyway. And he comments that he also does need to change his PSN name. He says he's too old for Big Steamy. He says, damn, Scott, a lot of aggression about the Elite name. I watched the Clueless Gamer Final Fantasy video. He also thought it was hilarious. And he says, thank you. I bought Tony a Amazon Echo. And he likes it. So you're very welcome, Tony. Yeah, I will say the one thing I definitely got wrong about, to show you how clueless I was about, like, Elite speak or whatever. Like, to me, the 1 never made sense. I'm like, no one will know what the frickin' 1 is. We gotta use an L. It was totally the wrong decision because I didn't know what I was doing. On the Cartoon Retrocast, Jeremy even, like, they gave me a shout out at the end of their most recent episode. And they were joking about how I just love Elite Speak. It just is my favorite thing. It's so bad. So, but anyways, Tony, thanks for commenting there. And then I think he's got 2, from last episode 205.
All right. He says, the first one he says, awesome. I did not realize that I was mentioned at the end of this episode. Dumbass had a question about my videos. Glad they were accepted. I admit I am weak sauce compared to the dedication of Scott and Dustin. They rule. That's accurate.
Appreciate it, man.
Let's see. He says, another great episode, guys. I am behind. Scott, your experience with Diablo was completely opposite of mine. My friend growing up was the only one who had a PC strong enough to run Diablo 1 when I was a kid. I sunk hours into it at his house. Have not played a Diablo game since. That 99 3DS sounds great, but I will probably stick with my OnePlus 2. Wait, with my one.
No, this is OnePlus is the brand of phone.
Oh, okay. My OnePlus 2 is like the generation.
Correct.
Okay. My OnePlus Generation 2 phone.
Guess what their first one was called?
OnePlus 1?
Yeah, and how silly does that sound?
Well, OnePlus 1 does make 2, so.
It does. And this makes 3. We're talking about Diablo 3 and 3DS. It's just, bam, it's just all right there. The Illuminati, confirmed.
That's terrible branding, by the way. OnePlus 2. I will probably stick with my OnePlus 2 phone for mobile games. It still doesn't sound right. Most random line in the podcast. You know, he was the guy in Piranha 3D. Don't rip on country music. It's not all bad. That's a lie.
Correct.
Scott, we need to talk about your VR. Interested to get your thoughts. I probably missed it on an earlier show. Vogue Nasty, your knowledge of games never ceases to amaze me. What was I talking about?
It's true. Video games.
No, okay.
In general, you know your shit too much. Keeping us afloat.
But then I'll get to work and I'll be like, damn, what's my code for this door? I don't remember.
You fact check the old stuff for us, and I scramble for news at lunch the days we record. And that's our preparation.
200 episodes strong.
Yeah, right? You're like, God, I've been following this junk for years. At least I get to tell a few people about it now. And I'm like, oh, crap, Dustin has all this knowledge. I need to come up with something to say.
What's going on at Kotaku?
Yeah, I've stopped going there. Dude, it's getting harder and harder to tell what's like an ad, an opinion, or news just by scrolling through it. So I've been using usgamer.net and GameSpot the most recently for news.
Cool.
Sometimes Polygon, but they can get pretty goddamn annoying. Everything's political with them. Like, just give me the news about, like, video games. I don't give a shit about politics anymore. Is the new Final Fantasy going to be good or not? I need to talk about it.
You don't want to know how Watch Dogs 2's vagina relates to Trump?
It just proves that the patriarchy is real. All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for the show. So I want to thank Ben Landis very much for letting us use his song Through the Forest as our intro music. You can get that linked in the description. If you look for Ben Landis Through the Forest, you'll find his Bandcamp page. Also, we are on Stitcher, iTunes, Google Play, most podcast apps. Like I've noticed iTunes and Downcast are the two most heavily used apps to download our show.
Sweet.
So Downcast, I guess, works great. That's a really popular podcast app. If you're interested in interacting with us quickly, we're on Twitter, Facebook, and also YouTube. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's something else I wanted to say. Oh, yeah. So this week for outro music, Dustin, I got something kind of cool.
Okay.
I stumbled across this right before we were going to record. And there's a website called chiptunesforautism.org. And what they do is they raise money and awareness for autism, and the money that they raise goes to one of three organizations related to autism. So it's either autism-society or autism-society.org, or it goes to autismadvocacy.org, or it goes to anxietygaming.com. And their mission statement is that this is a project that was founded by an Aspie dad with an autistic son, nephew, and sister who wanted to use the awesome power of chiptune music to spread understanding, awareness, self-awareness, and acceptance of autism. I've got one of my nieces, or kind of like secondary niece, like my cousin's kid, has autism, and so it's something that it's good to have awareness about it, and seeing somebody composing music in order to share awareness with it, and then help organizations that have probably helped him directly is really a cool thing. So, again, you can get this at chiptunesforautism.org. And there was a compilation CD album that I came across right before we started recording. And it's called Chiptunes for Autism Volume 1, Potions of Awareness. The song from the compilation that I'm playing is from either Daya or Dia, D-Y-A. The song is called Adventure Awaits. It's featuring... Them Not You, and it's a great chiptune song. I really like it. And Dustin, next week, this guy also has this Daya person, not related to specifically chiptune for autism, has a hashtag on his SoundCloud page, or her, that just says TG16, and the song is rad. So it might be back-to-back weeks of Daya as far as chiptune is concerned. It's just good rockin' stuff. So, yeah, if you're interested, again, go check this out. If it looks like something that you'd like to support, you can buy the chiptune album through Bandcamp. I did that before the show starts, so hopefully you'll enjoy the song that I picked out, and I'm interested to listen to the rest of the album. Thank you, everybody, very much for listening, and have a great Thanksgiving if you're from the States. If you're from Canada, happy belated Thanksgiving. And the rest of the world, hope you have a good weekend. We will talk to you next week for episode 208.
Beware that tryptophan. Boosh.